Shri Guru Charitra, Chapter 11. Birth of Shri Narsimha Saraswati. This chapter describes the advent of Shri Narsimha Saraswati. He was born as a son to Amba in Karanjapuri as per the promise made to her in her previous life by Sripada Sri Vallabha. At birth he could chant the Omkar. He was otherwise dumb till his Upanayana was performed. After Upanayana, he bursts into the recital of Vedic mantras and begins to glow with knowledge and wisdom. In an earlier chapter, it has been said how Sripada Sri Vallabha blessed the destitute woman Ambika, advising her to observe Shani Pradosha Vrata and worship Maheshwara. Ambika had prayed to him that at least in her next birth she should have a son like him. Sripada Sri Vallabha told her that her desire would be fulfilled if she faithfully observed Shani Pradosha Vrata and win the grace of Maheshwara. Siddha Yogi narrated to Narsimha Saraswati what happened to Amba or Ambika in her next birth. As per Sri Vallabha's advice, Ambika strictly observed the Vrata till her death. In her next birth, Ambika was born in a Brahmin family in Karanjanagar, a town near Akola in the former state of Berar. She was named by the parents as Amba Bhavani. When she came of age, she was married to a young man named Madhav, who was very pious and deeply devoted to Lord Shiva. Both of them used to observe Shani Pradosha Vrata regularly. A few years after the marriage, a boy was born to Amba in AD 1458. During her pregnancy, she was having divine visions and experiences. Her mind was always dwelling on holy ideas and auspicious thoughts. There was a divine luster spreading over her body and also radiating forth from her face. And on one auspicious day, a son was born to her. Strangely, instead of the normal crying, Pranavanada, the chant of Omkar, was emanating from the mouth of the infant. The wise men of the village said that astrologically the boy was going to be a Mahapurusha and a great savior of the world. He had all the auspicious insignia of God himself. On the 10th day, the boy was named Narahari. His eyes bespoke of omniscience, and his face seemed to reflect all the wisdom of the worlds. The infant was an attraction for all the people of the town. Narahari's mother did not seem to have sufficient breast milk to nurse the child. She expressed this to her husband and suggested that he should purchase a cow to provide milk for the child. The child seemed to have heard it and touched with his tiny hands the nipples of the breasts of the mother. Lo, the breasts were full of milk. The infant was manifesting many divine miracles. Nevertheless, the child seemed to be dumb. Except the Pranavanada that emanated from his lips at the time of the birth, the child never uttered any sound. The parents were afraid and were worried that the child would be dumb forever. The mother used to weep, saying, "Are we not destined to enjoy the prattle of the child?" The child used to, however, make little gestures which seemed to indicate that after his thread ceremony he would be quite normal in speech. Yet the parents were not relieved of their anxiety. To assure and comfort them, Narahari once took hold of an iron piece lying in the house and through his mere touch changed it into gold. When Narahari was 7 years old, his thread ceremony was performed, and to the wonder of all, the miracle of miracles happened. All the assembled Brahmins were amazed to see the dumb Narahari chanting Vedic mantras. The joy of the parents knew no bounds, and they shed profuse tears of joy. The mother asked Narahari to beg alms according to the tradition of the thread ceremony. Narahari said, "Mother, can I now take it that I have your permission to take to sannyas, which I very much desire? You ask me to beg alms. That implies you have sanctioned my heart's desire to take to an ascetic's life." The mother was aghast at these words of Narahari. What she only meant was that he should ask for the bhiksha of the vatu from the mother as a mere formality as per the tradition of the thread ceremony. She broke down into tears and pleaded as to how he could think of forsaking her and the home and taking to an ascetic life. He was her only child and only hope. She pleaded that all should follow the ashrama dharma and should take sannyas only after going through the householder's life, grihastha ashrama, and that alone should be the proper way. One should not skip one's responsibilities, duties and obligations. She was inconsolable. Narahari said, "Mother, understand me and see the truth." Saying thus, he placed his right palm on her head. As soon as he did this, the memory of her previous life was revived. She remembered the boon Sripada Shri Vallabha gave her. She understood then that it was the divine Sripada Shri Vallabha who was born to her as her son now, as she had prayed to him in her former life. She realized it would not be possible to hold back the divine being in the confines of her home for long, but nevertheless she pleaded with him, whom she now realized as none else but the illustrious Dattatreya, to stay in the home for at least a few more years. Thus ends the 11th chapter of Sri Guru Charitra, describing Sripada Shri Vallabha's reincarnation and the new incarnation's childhood. Glory to the all-merciful, the omnipresent, and the ever-responsive Gurunath.